go.
Sorry about that. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, so we're just resuming. So this will be your second part of that video. And so we left off where the word prism. So a prism is a polyhedron with at least two congruent faces in parallel planes. And so we have a top and a bottom here, okay? So we have a face here and a face here. Both of the face on top and the bottom are in parallel planes. They are parallel to one another, okay? So understanding these would be the bases of the prism. The bases of the prism. Then the lateral faces of the prism would literally be the faces that go around. So we have the face here, we have a face here, we have a face there, and we have a face on the back side. So if I could take this eraser here, you'll see that it is a three-dimensional polyhedron, and it is a prism. Now, if we look here, when I talk about these parallel bases, so let's look at it as it's laying down. We have the top surface here, we have the bottom surface, okay? The top and the bottom would be called the bases. They're parallel to one another, okay? They're parallel in the same plane. Now, if I were to take the front here, this would be a lateral face. And then if I turn it around, you'll see the back side, there's a lateral face. And then we have the side here and the side here. So the sides around the prism are called lateral faces, and then the top and the bottom would be called bases. I hope that makes sense to you there, okay? So the bases of the prism and the lateral faces, okay? And then obviously you would see there the lateral edges there. So the lateral edges, again, will be where the edges intersect, okay? So again, if we're looking up at the board here, so these lateral edges would be this edge here if I extend it, this edge here if I were to extend it. Lateral edges. Okay, and then obviously this edge here, this edge here. Lateral edges, okay? So make sure that you understand there, okay? So now we would name a prism. We would name a prism by its base. So if the base is a triangle, we would call that a triangular prism. If the base is a rectangle, we would call that a rectangular prism. If the base is an octagon, it would be an octagonal prism. So whatever the base is, that's how the prism would get its name, okay? So now, turn the page there to the top of page 22, you'll see a pyramid. So these are the two types of polyhedrons, a prism and a pyramid. A pyramid is a polyhedron with a polygonal region as the base and a triangular lateral faces having one point in common called the vertex of the pyramid. So, all right, so if we go, okay, let's see if I can draw this here. Okay, now, okay, so let's just call that, we see that's a polygonal base. So that's a pentagon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what we would do here is then we would go up to a common point, which is called the vertex. Now I want you to notice all the lateral faces, the faces that are going around the base. So we have face, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, all right? And then we have the face on the back side. There are 5 faces. Notice the shapes of those faces. They are triangles, okay? So we have triangular lateral faces, okay? And so the vertex obviously is the point where all those lateral edges meet. And then if I were to draw a perpendicular to the base of that pyramid, we would call this the altitude. The altitude. So the altitude would be obviously from the vertex to the base of the pyramid. We would call that the altitude. Now, a regular pyramid is a pyramid whose base is a regular polygon and whose lateral faces are congruent. And again, just as in prisms, we would name the pyramid by the shape of the base, okay? So let's look at quickly the bottom of number 2, page 22 here. Name the types of prisms, the bases, and the lateral faces of each polyhedron. Okay, so let me draw the first one here. Okay, so we call this, let's write my letters here. So R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y. All right, so name the type of prism, the bases, and the lateral faces of each polyhedron. So looking at number 2 here, number 2, what is the name? What would we call that, right? So we name a prism by the base. So what shape do we have? We have a rectangle, very good. So we would call this a rectangular prism. A rectangular prism, very good. Now, here's the second question, okay? Once we do that, we want to name the bases. Now remember, looking at our rectangular prism here, our eraser, all right, the base is the top and the bottom. So name with 4 capital letters the bases. So let's see if we can name them in alphabetical order, if possible. So we would have R, S, T, U would be one base. Okay, and then the second base would be W, V, W, X, Y. U, oh, sorry, V, W, X, Y. There's your bases. They're top and the bottom. Now, the lateral faces. Now, so let's see how many lateral faces we have. We have the front and we have the back. That would be 2 lateral faces. And then we have the left and the right. So there are 4 lateral faces. So let's name the front, okay? Again, the best we can go from left to right here. So we're going to R, U, Y, V, okay? So R, U, Y, V. Let's go to the back again, left to right. So S, my left to right. So S, T, X, W. Now let's look at this face here, okay? So we have the right and the left. So we'll go here again. We're going to go U, T, X, Y. And then the back, we're going to go R, S, W, V. So, rectangular prism, they're the bases, the top and the bottom, and then the lateral faces are what's going around. Let's look at number 3. Number 3 here, again, we're going to name a prism by its base. All right, let's see if I can do this properly here. Okay, all right, and then we have... All right, let's call A, B, C, and then we have D, E, F. All right? So, again, what's the shape of the base? We have a triangle. So, therefore, this would be called a triangular prism. Very good, a triangular prism. And then, okay, what are the bases? So, let's name the bases. Top and bottom, okay? So top and bottom. So we're going to name the bases, right? A, B, triangle A, B, C. And then let's name the bottom here. We have triangle D, E, F. Now, let's name the lateral faces. So we have the left, the right, and the front. So notice, okay, the lateral faces we have are really parallelograms. So let's name the first one. We have, all right, so we have A, B, E, D. Okay, right, A, B, E, D. And then we have B, C, F, E. And then there's one more, the front. Okay, so we're going to go A, C, F, A, C, F, D. Okay, I want you to do number 4. All right, once you do number 4, let's look at the number, let's look at the number of sides there. Remember, number of sides. So we identify a polygon by the number of sides. So let's count the sides. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What would be a 6-sided polygon, class? A hexagon. Very good. So we would call this a hexagonal prism. A hexagonal prism. Now, what are the bases? So let's name the bases again, if you want to name them in alphabetical order. So the top base would be STUVWX. The bottom base would be ABCDEF. And then the lateral faces would be TSAB, TUCB, UVDC, VWED, and WXEF, and SXFA. There are your lateral faces, okay? There. All right, so we're going to stop there for this morning, and so I want you to do 5, 6, and 7 on page 22. 5, 6, and 7. Find the lengths of the regular triangular pyramid if all the lateral faces are equilateral. Hint. Use the 30-60 right triangle theorem. 5, 6, and 7. We'll score that tomorrow. Have a blessed day, and make sure your homework is in on time. Thank you.